Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Team Macaulay with another video. This time we get another 6v6 Wi-Fi battle here on Pokemon Omega Ruby with the Mega Metacham team I've been using for the past few days. And in the team preview, my opponent has a pretty interesting team as well. The Gengar and I'd say maybe the Rotom Wash are the most common things on here. The Gardevoir I've seen quite a bit. Sharpedo, I think this might be like the first or second time I've seen it. Amapon I've seen a few times. And the Metagross I've seen mainly in double battles. So here he's got 4 Mega Evolution possibilities. The only ones that aren't are the Rotom Wash and the Amapon. The other 4 can be Mega Evolutions. So that's something I had to kind of look out for. But he didn't really, looking here, he didn't really have, well, I mean, the Rotom's probably going to be a special tank. Maybe it could be the Gardevoir as well. And this Metagross could be relatively physically defensive. I mean, it has natural physical bulk. So here I decide that like the main thing, I can benefit greatly by setting up the sticky web because he doesn't have any flying types, but he does have 2 Pokemon with Levitate, and the Metagross has Clear Body, so it won't get its speed lowered when it comes in. But if it is the Mega, if it comes in again, it will be affected by the sticky web. So we're going to go ahead and get this battle started. And like I said, or I don't know if I said it, but I decided to lead with the Galvantula to get up the sticky web, and he leads with his Gardevoir. So I was like, it's an interesting lead on his part. And he does have trees, so I didn't have to worry. I don't know if this thing even gets Magic Bounce, but I was worried about that. So I just go straight up for the Thunder Wave here, so that if he attacks me next turn, I can go for the safe. I can go for the sticky web and outspeed him, and he goes straight up for the substitute. I'm like, oh man, this is going to be a problem. And he does have leftovers, so I'm like, okay, he might be like a bulkier setup. Gardevoir, I didn't really know. And I go for the Bug Buzz here. I'm not going to. I went for the Bug Buzz to break the substitute, but then I realized I do advantage. I'm like, oh, that's right, it's a sound-based move. So I did learn something there. I did kind of get a little lucky as well from like that mechanic in the game, since I'm not all that familiar with that. So I realized I was like, okay, well that might be like one of the benefits of using Hyper Voice on Sylveon over Moonblast, because then I'd be able to. Because other than that, I don't really have anything to break this substitute. So I've gotten 2 Bug Buzzes off, and he does go for the Moonblast to try and knock me out before I can knock him out, but he takes me on my Focus Sash. So here I was kind of debating on what I wanted to do, if I wanted to finish off the Gardevoir or set up the sticky web. And I was like, I just want to finish off this Gardevoir. I don't want it being a big problem to my team. So unfortunately, he does switch out. If I went for, or the right call there would have been, or the right prediction at least would have been to go for the sticky web. But I do get the Bug Buzz, and I was actually surprised at how little damage that did. So, and then here I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna go for the sticky web now. But he does have the Bullet Punch over the Meteor Mash, which is unfortunate. I should have just switched out. I was thinking about going in the Drapion, so he'd take Rocky Helmet damage. And interestingly enough, he didn't Mega Evolve last turn. He's doing it this turn. So maybe his other Pokemon were holding Mega Evolution Stones as well. He was just debating. And here he goes for the Earthquake. I was like, okay, he probably is going to go for the Earthquake if he has it. But I thought I'd be able to take it a lot better than that. And I go for the knockoff, and I was underwhelmed with how much damage this knockoff did. So I was kind of upset at this point. I was like, really, I lost my Drapion to this. I wanted to keep it in the back for if my opponent ever had switched out Ambipom, I could switch in my Drapion to take the fake out and give him Rocky Helmet damage. So unfortunately, that's the end of Drapion. It's not going to do too much. But Entei's going to get off the Secret Fire. It's going to connect, and it's going to be an easy knockout on this thing. So at least we got rid of his Mega. This thing was a decent threat, especially with Drapion gone. And now he's going to switch out in the Pink Shadow, his Sharpedo. And I was interested, this kind of caught me, I found this interesting. Yeah, let's just use the word interesting. Because, I mean, obviously he's going to go for the Protect and the Speed Boost. And he's going to go for Waterfall here. I'm like, this Waterfall is not going to take me out. Like, I was really confident with that. I was actually surprised at how much it did do, especially since he didn't have Life Orb. So, but I just go for the Sacred Fire. I'm like, if I get the burn, I'm set, and I do get the burn. So, I mean, it was a 50% chance, so you can't really get too mad about it. So he's only gonna have one more turn left, and he's gonna die to the burn. So instead of leaving an Entei, I'm like, he's probably just gonna go for another Waterfall. So I'm just gonna go in my Ludicolo, so I resist, and he's just gonna knock himself out from recoil, or from the burn, excuse me. So sure enough, he does go for Waterfall, and it's gonna do all of nothing since he's burned, and I quad resist. So he's gonna get knocked out from the burn, and that's the end of the Sharpedo. Another big threat gone. So he goes into his Rotom. So here I'm like, why would he just switch into his Rotom? I was like, does he have Hidden Power Bug or Hidden Power Poison or something? I go for the Fake Out just to get some damage off. And then I see the Volt Switch. I'm like, I wonder if he's choiced or something. Choiced in some fashion, whether it be Specs or Scarf. But he's going to get out of there. Get some free damage, pretty much. And then go into Gardevoir. I assumed to sack it off. Maybe he wanted to see what my ability was as well. But I just went for the safe Giga Drain. Even if Rotom's hidden, I wasn't expecting it to knock out. Maybe do 50%. Hopefully do 50% at least. If not, at least like a 3-hit KO. So he got the sack, and here's the Ambipom. I wish I had my Drapion so I could switch out. But I just go into my Entei here. I'm just going to sack it off, since I didn't feel there was too much else it could do. Since I felt this Ambipom was most likely going to outspeed me. And he had the Gengar in the back, which also would have outsped me, so didn't really have much. We see it also has the Life Orb, so Life Orb plus Rocky Helmet would have destroyed this thing. 2 attacks and it would have lost like half its health. So I bring in the Medicham here, because I don't think I can outspeed this thing and get a Drain Punch off, but I do go for the Bullet Punch, hoping I can take this thing out, or at least deal a ton of damage. I was underwhelmed at how little that did, and he goes for the Shadow Claw, which doesn't take me out. I was like, oh crap, I wish I would have gone for the Drain Punch. Would have knocked this thing out, restored like half my health. So, I don't know. I think double hit. The thing is, I didn't know what kind of Ambipom it was. You never know. But I go for another Bullet Punch, and he goes for the switch, which is good. That takes it very well. So I do switch out. I feel like Medicham can come in handy later. I go in the Ludicolo here, predicting the Volt Switch. So here I'm like, okay, so he must be Scarfed, because he thought he could. Because I was like, he thought he could outspeed my Medicham, so he has to be Scarfed. And he goes for the Volt Switch again. So I'm like, he's got to be Scarfed. He's got to be Scarfed. So here's Gengar, and I'm like, you don't scare me with your Gengar. And you see how little it did, and that was a crit. So I go for the Scald here, and I don't get the burn, which is unfortunate. It would have made it like a 2-hit KO. And he goes for the Shadow Ball. So obviously he's not carrying a Poison type move, and you see how little that does. So I go for the Giga Drain here, so that it would be like I'd be able to take one more. It wouldn't be a 3-hit KO. It would barely make it a 4-hit KO. So even though it's resisted, it's going to restore just enough to where I'm going to be set. So he goes for another Thunderbolt, probably hoping for a Paralysis. Doesn't get it. I get the last Scald, and I take out this Gengar. So I kind of read his bluff right there. I'm like, Gengars usually don't carry Poison type moves, even though Fairies run around rampantly. So he brings back in his Rotom. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to let my Ludicolo go down. And all we've seen from this Rotom is a Volt Switch, so I'm thinking he's got to be choice. Like he's choice. His other move's going to be Trick, or Will-O-Wisp, or whatever. He's going to have some other moves. So he's going to bring in Ambipom here, and it took me a while to decide what I wanted to switch in, if I wanted to sack off my Medicham or not. But I go in the Sylveon, I'm like, I can just go for the Detect to eat up the potential Fake Out. So he actually goes for double hit right away. So here's like, well, switching doesn't do anything, because if I switch, I'm just going to come back in with Sylveon, and it's going to be the same thing. So I was like, I just gotta hope I can live, and I do. Hang on, 25 HP, and I just went for the Moonblast. So we're gonna be able to take out this Ambipom, and now we got a 2v1. But the problem is, I'm like, oh, it doesn't matter anyways. He got the damage he needed to, because Rotom's gonna be able to one-shot both my Pokemon since it's Choice Scarfed. So he just brings it in, and obviously the Volt Switch. I mean, that's all we saw from this thing. So I'm like, it's scarfed. I mean, he didn't even go for like a trick or a will wisp or anything because he's flat out scarfed. So I just picked my Medicham here. I'm like, I'm not gonna go for Bolt Punch. I go for Drain Punch, and I'm like, whoa, is this thing not scarfed? I wish I knew that because this happened before Medicham versus Rotom. He brought it in. I'm like, oh, he's got to be scarfed, but he must have been bluffing that whole time. I'm glad I didn't go for Bolt Punch. I'm just gonna go for the Drain Punch in case whatever happens. And sure enough, he wasn't scarfed, which really surprised me. I guess it just goes to show how slow my team really is. I rely a lot on the sticky web to be able to outspeed my opponents and stuff. So my opponent had some bluffs right like in that game with the Gengar, sending in the Gengar against the Ludicolo when it wasn't carrying a poison type move, sending in that Rotom so much it made me think it was scarfed. May have been specs. Maybe that's why I was doing so much damage. I don't really know. But we never saw a trick or anything, so we can't confirm what it was. I got kind of mad. I didn't get my sticky web set up, and that kind of caused a lot of problems because I would have been able to outspeed the Ambipom with my Medicham. I would have been able, and probably with the Sylveon as well. I would have, and with Sharpedo, Entei may have outsped even after the speed boost because that would have only put him. He would have been from -1. That would have put him back to 0, so I still might have outsped there. A whole bunch of stuff, and also when the Drapion went down, I can't believe how much damage I took and how little damage he took. So just learned a lot from this battle, a lot about the speed tiers and stuff, see how I stack up, see how important the sticky web is to this team because it really relies on Mega Medicham and his offensive capabilities. But I felt like I played decent, not as good as other battles, but I played decent in that one. But that's gonna be it for this video. If you guys want to battle me, go ahead and let me know. If you guys want singles or doubles, whatever. But that's gonna be it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time.